Ellie shivered as she stepped out of her jeep, the cold autumn air biting through her flannel jacket. The forest loomed before her, dark and inviting, a sea of shadows stretching endlessly into the distance. She had been here before too many times to count, but this trip felt different. There was a weight in the air, a heaviness that settled in her chest and refused to lift. It was as if the woods were holding their breath, waiting for something. She slung her camera bag over her shoulder and checked her gear. The plan was simple: spend a couple of nights documenting the changing colors of the forest. Maybe capture some wildlife shots if she was lucky. She told herself it was just another job, but deep down she knew the real reason she had returned. Sam. Her brother's face flashed in her mind, smiling, eyes bright with mischief as he led her through these very woods a decade ago. He had disappeared on a clear autumn day, just like this one. Nobody, no clues. Only his name whispered through the trees, haunting her dreams ever since. Ellie adjusted her pack and set off down the trail. Crunch of leaves underfoot, the only sound in the stillness. The deeper she went, the thicker the canopy became, filtering out what little light remained. Hours passed and the trail began to blur, the familiar landmarks fading into a tangle of unfamiliar trees. A chill ran down her spine. She paused, turning in a slow circle. The woods were too quiet. Birdsong, no rustle of small animals in the underbrush, just silence. And then Ellie, her breath caught in her throat. The voice was soft, almost a whisper, but unmistakable. It came from somewhere ahead, just beyond the line of trees. She recognized it immediately. Sam, Sam, she called, her voice trembling. She broke into a run, branches clawing at her clothes and face as she pushed deeper into the forest. The voice called again, closer this time. Ellie, help me. Her heart pounded as she burst into a small clearing. Her eyes darted around, searching for her brother, but there was no one there. Only the trees, their twisted branches reaching toward her like skeletal fingers. The air felt wrong, thick and oppressive, pressing down on her like a weight. Ellie. The voice came again, but this time it sounded wrong. Distorted, hollow. Mockery of her brother's voice. Her pulse quickened as she backed away, her eyes scanning the shadows. I know you're there, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. Show yourself. The woods responded with a low, guttural growl that seemed to come from everywhere at once. Ellie's breath hitched as the shadows began to shift and coalesce, forming a shape that was almost human but not quite. Its eyes glowed like embers, and its face was a grotesque mask of twisted bark and moss. Sam, it whispered again, its voice dripping with malice. Come closer. Ellie stumbled back, her instinct screaming at her to run, but her legs refused to move. The creature took a step toward her, its movement slow and deliberate. You've been searching for so long, it said, its voice shifting, becoming almost soothing. I can take you to him. Just follow me. Part of her wanted to believe it, to give in and follow the creature into the depths of the woods. But another part, a deeper, stronger part, knew the truth. You're lying, she said, her voice a whisper. The creature snarled, its eyes burning brighter. The ground seemed to tremble beneath her feet as it lunged toward her. Ellie spun on her heel and ran, her heart hammering in her chest. The forest blurred around her, the trees closing in, their branches like claws reaching for her. The voice pursued her, growing louder, more insistent. Ellie, don't run. You'll never find him without me. She didn't stop. She couldn't. Her lungs burned and her legs screamed in protest, but she pushed on. Her eyes locked on the faint glimmer of light ahead. It grew brighter with each step until she burst out of the trees, collapsing onto the dirt road where her jeep waited. The forest fell silent once more, the malevolent presence retreating into the shadows. Ellie lay there, gasping for breath, her heart racing. She knew she had barely escaped with her life. As she climbed into her jeep and slammed the door shut, a new determination settled in her chest. This wasn't over. Whatever was in those woods, whatever had taken her brother was still out there, and she was going to find it.
Subscribe for more scary stories.